I'm actually going to change the lighting.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tanya Williams here, author of A Child-Free Happily Ever After and founder of the Childfree Choices program. Now, I am really excited this morning because I get to speak to a superstar. Alysia Reiner is the star of a movie called Egg, which you may or may not have heard of, depending where you are in the world, but we're going to make sure that you find out about it regardless and let you know where you can actually see it. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Well, it's good morning for me. It's probably evening for you.
It's 6 p.m. where I am, and I completely forgot that we were doing this like in an in-person kind of thing as opposed to a phone kind of thing, and I just got a facial, so I have zero. Now your viewers get like the secret of what I look like with zero makeup on, 0, 0, 0.
Well, you look pretty damn amazing for someone with no makeup on, seriously. I wish I looked like that with no makeup on. I have makeup on.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. Now, I watched the movie a couple of days ago. It's called Egg. Really powerful movie about these characters who have very different views around having children, and I can't wait to dive into that. So firstly, let's start with why the movie was made. Like, why did you think this was an essential conversation that needed to get out there?
Well, when I first read it, I remember feeling like, oh my God, I've thought all these things, but no one's ever said them. And then I read it about 10 years later, and still no one had ever said them. And when I first read it, I was choosing whether I wanted to be a parent or not. And the second time, I was a mother, and in both cases, I deeply connected to the characters, and I fell in love with them all. And it was just a story I really wanted to tell.
Yeah. And what I found really interesting was how different every single woman in the movie is. And it's like their thoughts, their values, their beliefs are all so just 180 degrees.
Yeah, they're really complex and really funny, and that's the brilliance of Reese's writing, is it's super deep and hilarious.
Yeah. So what is the core message that you guys are really trying to portray through the movie?
I would say there are two core messages. One is that women and men have the courage and curiosity to find their own truth, be it about parenthood or anything.
Yep.
That we each have to find what is best for our soul, which might not be what our parents want or what our friends want, or even what our partner wants. And how do we navigate that? And then the other piece is once we've found that truth, how do we navigate those other people in our lives and allow them the integrity of their own choices and still maintain loving relationships? The core love relationship in this movie is the two women and their willingness to have completely different ideas and love each other through it and accept each other through it, even if they don't always like each other through it.
Yeah, I think that that definitely came through. And one of the key things that I loved about everything that you just said was the making your own rules. Because I think that's a conversation, certainly what I'm doing with the book that I've written, and what I'm doing is, my big thing is it's all about the C word, which is choice. And women being able to make their own rules and choose what's right for them, regardless of what anyone else thinks around them. And that's what I think definitely comes through in the movie. So can you tell us a bit more about your character for the people who haven't seen the movie yet? Because I loved her, and I loved her directness, and I love the way that she was like, no, this is what I think, and I'm not going to sacrifice what I think for anybody. But at the same time, she's quite sensitive as well, which you get to see throughout.
Yeah, I think she says what she means, and she means what she says, and she's very real. She's a little bit of a modern day Cassandra. Like, she's a truth teller, and she's not afraid to tell the truth, which can sometimes be really funny and sometimes really abrasive.
Yeah, and confronting at times as well. When things that she say, you're like, wow, okay, yeah.
But through the course of the movie, you do get to see that she's deeply insecure and has her own stuff too. So, again, it's a beautifully written, complex, layered human, like we really are in real life.
Most definitely. I think, and that's one of the things as women we're not even women who are mums. Well, you're not just a mum. You're so many other things as well. Like, we're like diamonds. We've got all these pieces and stuff, like different sides to us.
Totally.
So why do you think a film like this is necessary in the day and age that we live in?
Wow. I think it's deeply necessary because in the past decade, we've grown so much as cultures on this planet around how we've rethunk, if that's a word, gender, and how we've reconstructed gender and sexuality. And we've really grown and evolved, but our ideas around parenthood and what it means to be a parent and those roles are deeply unevolved and super old-fashioned. Yeah. And it's really important to me that we explore this and look at how do we really bring the conversation about parenting up into 2019.
Totally agree. I could not agree more that this conversation needs to happen. Like, it's just, exactly that, where we're living in now, and everything you said about we now happy to accept gay people and transgender and all these other choices that people are making. Like, yeah, cool, no problems. When it comes to someone going, I don't want to be a mum. Oh my God, you're the devil and you're a bad woman. And it's like, what? Like, where does it come from?
I know. I don't get it. But
I don't understand it. I really don't. I think, and I suppose I look back at my mum's generation and then my grandmother's generation where they didn't really have a choice. Yeah. Whereas I think all of a sudden now we're going, you know what? I actually don't have to do this. I have a choice. I think that's great now that we actually do have the choice to be go, well, I don't know if I want that. In actual fact, you know what? There's other things that I prefer to do rather than that. So that's, it's an interesting conversation and one that the dialogue really needs to change and hopefully things like this movie can help do that.
Yeah.
So how is the movie being received by media, society, and so forth?
We've had insane reviews. We're at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. We've had so much press about it in fantastic ways. We were on the Today Show here in America and Rachel Ray, and it's been
fabulous.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose the message coming back to you is that we need this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh God, I love this stuff. When this stuff happens. So throughout the movie and when you were filming, was there anything that you learnt yourself about the role women play and even the dynamics in these relationships we have with other women in our life?
I think the biggest thing that I've had to explore more is the judgment as a parent of one. There is such an assumption, I can't imagine how you feel, because for me, everyone assumed, I don't know what the statistics are about people having one child or two child or three child, but people assume you have more than one child, which I find fascinating. And there have been times in my life where I feel not good enough because I've chosen to have one child. And that I've had to explore that more and sort of dive into those feelings a little bit more in order to connect with the character.
Yeah. You know what I found really interesting, which I didn't actually realize when I wrote my book, was there's judgment around every choice that we make. So I was interviewing women like me who were child-free, who were judged. I was interviewing women that had one child and said, well, they were judged, and everyone kept saying, well, you can't just have one. That's not fair. Blah, 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 blah. You've got to have another one and all this sort of stuff. Women who had 5 kids. Oh, what have you got 5 kids for? That's ridiculous. That's too many. So it didn't matter whether it was none, 5, 1. There was judgment and criticism.
Yeah.
And, and again, I don't understand why that happens. It's like, well, if you want to have 5 kids, that doesn't impact my life in any way. Why should I care?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that, have you had people say to you, oh, you're going to have another one, right? Or you should have another one?
Yeah. I get most, yes, yes, yes. Like, but I think the thing that hurts the most is when they go, oh, just the one.
Oh, like
Like,
it's a bad thing.
they're mourning for the second child they never had, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
that
ever call them up on that when they make those sort of comments? You sort of call them on it and go, well, you know, and
You know,
give them something to think of?
I really haven't that much, but I think this is the year to learn how to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's something Tina can teach me.
Oh, Tina would definitely pull them up on that.
So I'm going to have her write a line for me.
Okay, yes, you need her sitting on your shoulder to go, come on, girl, what would we do here? Because she would so not tolerate that. That's what I love about her, though, is she is so direct. And if she doesn't agree with something, she's like, I don't think so.
She is in it.
Oh, I love it. So were there any surprises during filming, I suppose, of things that came up for you or the other characters where they're like, oh, I didn't expect this?
I would say the biggest thing is, so the gentleman who plays Christina Hendricks's husband
Yes.
in the movie is my husband in real life.
Oh, there you go. That's crazy.
So the two things that came up was like, I didn't expect to be like, oh my God, he's married to such a beautiful woman now. And when we had our one like little scene that's just the two of us, we could not stop laughing. Like, it was so hard to shoot that film because we just kept on cracking each other up. But that's the worst thing.
Yeah. Okay. So there wasn't any sort of emotional things or other thoughts here like, oh, geez, I hadn't really considered this, and this is part of the script, and I'm now playing this role.
I try and always keep it like a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try not to decide too much. So yes, of course, it was deeply emotional, but that wasn't necessarily a surprise, if that makes sense. You know.
I think what I loved about Tina as well was her layers, in that she comes across in a certain way at the start, and as you go through the film with her and you get towards the end where she's opening up and having these conversations, it's like, wow, oh, I didn't expect that. So I'm not going to tell people what happens, but I was really surprised. And you see her vulnerability and her sensitivity and this whole other side of her that you don't get at the start of the movie.
One of my favorite things about the movie is people often say, like, in the beginning I was on this person's side and then I kept on flip-flopping. Like, you really, at different points in the movie, I really felt like one of the characters, and then I would move to a different character, which I love. Yeah, I suppose,
particularly as it plays out and the different things that happen throughout as well. So now we talked about the fact that you know, it's opened in the US. It's got great feedback and so forth. When are we going to be able to see it in the rest of the world, and where can we see it in the rest of the world?
Well, it's so funny because I did not realize that it's not on iTunes and Amazon. I know it's on iTunes and Amazon in the States, and I know it's on iTunes and Amazon in the UK. I believe we're opening soon in New Zealand, which I would imagine would be Australia too. So
Australia is so much more important than New Zealand.
Exactly. I know we have, like, the way it goes with a film is it's sold to different territories. So I know Vertigo is the UK distributor, and Gravitas is the American, but I don't know who bought the New Zealand and Australian rights yet.
Well, I'm going to have to go searching on Amazon and iTunes and see if I can find it so I can share it with everybody here. And then hopefully it will come to a cinema as well, and we can get to go and check it out on the big screen. Is there anything else you want to share or talk about the movie or your character?
No, I think we covered it all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I love, as I said, I love the character. I love the message that comes from the movie. I love the fact that all these characters are in very different situations.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for putting it out into the world that whatever your choice is awesome.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I often speak about the fact that, you know, one of my best friends has 4 kids. Love her, love the kids to death.
Yeah.
I love my nieces and nephews. I'm not anti-kids. I'm just anti-kids for me. And that's my choice. And I'm always happy for my friends and the people around me as to whatever their choice is. And I don't care what they do. I'm like, you can move to the middle of Australia and have orange hair and
Yeah.
you know, chant every day. I don't care as long as you're happy.
Totally. And I will say, I just this second got a LondonMumsMagazine.com, like their online magazine, just printed like a big article and review of the film if you want to read that.
Excellent. Yeah, awesome. I'll have to go and check that out as well.
All right. Well, lovely chatting.
Thank you so much, Alysia. Have a fabulous evening.
You too. And I hope we have an opportunity to talk another time.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.